Mr. Hudson, it is an absolute pleasure and honor, like I said, to have this opportunity to get to visit with you. We are all big fans of yours here in Branson, Missouri. I don't know if you recall, but you have come here once before for a comic convention.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you have been the talk of the town ever since. So you have an open invitation to come back anytime you'd like.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I remember yeah, very well. It's kind of in the winter, so it was a little quiet.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
And Prisoner's Daughter was absolutely fantastic. I had the pleasure of visiting with Catherine, the director, yesterday, and our
Uh,
interview was just fantastic. Getting to see the ins and outs of how that production was done, and I just thinking about your part in this film. I got to know, how did you get involved in this film? How did you find your way to Hank? And can you just kind of give us some background in your journey into how this happened?
yeah, when the film first came to me, before I read it, I just finished working on something, and I really wasn't looking for another job. But I read the script, and I was really I've always been fascinated with the idea of fatherhood, and you try to get it right, and things don't. The results are a little bit mixed. But we all sort of approach it differently, and this sort of dealt with fatherhood in a way that I really hadn't looked at it on a personal level. I have four sons, so and I didn't have a dad, so I think that's part of why it always. But here's a guy who has lived, uh, just not a great life in the sense of the good and bad of it, but also his relationship with his daughter, and how do you make peace with that? How do you clean up stuff? And he's facing his mortality. So that story, that part of the story was fat. I don't have a daughter, but how do you make amends? How do you say I'm sorry? All that was sort of at play. I was also fascinated by. I have friends now who I've known for a long time, and even though I haven't seen them in a long time, they carry a part of me, and they probably still see me a way that I was back 40 years ago, and in a lot of ways I've changed. But they don't know that, they don't see that, and so that long history relationship between friends, I mean, real friends, guys who will honor that. And that was a part of the story too. And it was also part of my own curiosity. We reach a certain age in life when I go, oh, this is, I'm a different guy now. I see the world from a different perspective. And so it kind of dealt with a lot of those, questions or curiosities. And of course Brian Cox, knowing that Brian was part of it, he directed several episodes of Oz, the television series I did back. So I knew him as a director, but in the recent years with Succession, I love his work as an actor. So to get a chance to reconnect with him and to tell this story, that was, I mean, I would have done it just for that alone. Kate Beckinsale, I've been a fan. I think she's stunning, and I was really curious to see how she, um, you know, makes that character make sense. Woman who's on the fringes, outside of that part of Vegas that we don't really see it much in movies. Believable, and I know she's such a wonderful actress that she'd be able to pull it off, and she does. And it speaks a lot to the choices that we make, and everybody around you going, you can make another choice, and so all those, it just had a lot of things that I personally have been sort of questioning and thinking about, and so I just, yeah, really, um, and even in terms of my own children, when you see they're struggling with certain things, how do you teach them to protect themselves? How do you teach a boxer who doesn't want to be a boxer but just wants to survive? So yeah, it just had a lot of fun things that I was kind of personally curious about, and I thought it was all sort of there in the script. And yeah, so that's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's what I wanted to do with this film. And I saw a rough cut recently, and Yeah, I think Catherine did an amazing job putting it together.
No, truly, it really is. And I think I told her yesterday, it's a really great blend of drama and action. And those are
Yeah,
two genres that are really hard to piece together. And I think you
yeah,
did a really excellent job of that. And yeah, the reason for you jumping on board is wonderful because you look at the atmosphere of a film like that, and it's so rare to find something like that and then also have such an amazing cast with yourself and Brian and Kate all coming together. It's
yeah.
wonderful to see. Just looking over your career and the 250 plus projects you've done over your life, you have done a few things in the boxing genre, a few things. So what was it like getting to be in the gym, back in the ring, getting to kind of experience that again as you brought this character of Hank to life?
Yeah, well, I fought Golden Gloves as a kid, and part of your life, you're as a guy, you're very physical, and I mean, you express yourself from a physical vantage. But once you hit a certain age, that's kind of that's not how I present myself or how I think of myself. So it's great to still be believable, to get in the ring, and to be a boxing coach. But so the physical, that's always sort of fun to sort of do, but also it kind of just in terms of the fatherhood, the scene with keep going blank on the young man's name, who
Christopher,
played
yeah.
the Christopher, to have that moment, it kind of reminded me of my own children, to be so to be in the to be teaching, to be, because ultimately it all comes down to mentoring, to help someone get through this. So all that for my character was great, but it's also great to be believable in a boxing ring. And even though time has passed and you're not, he's not the fighter now, but he's still still part of that. And so just the believability, because any story you tell, you want it to be believable. And that whole thing with be crazy, that was something that wasn't in the script, but I kind of brought to it. It reminded me of when I was a kid, and I had an uncle who basically taught me that if you're being bullied, you have to fight. But if you fight, you have to convince everyone around that you're crazy, because once they accept the fact that you're crazy, then they'll leave you alone, because nobody can deal with a crazy person. What he didn't explain to me was, once they convince you crazy, they'll also leave you alone, period, in other ways. And so it can kind of backfire on you, but it was fun to be able to play with Christopher, and he's such a wonderful actor, and very tuned in. So it was fun.
Yeah, that's something else that Catherine and I addressed yesterday in our conversation because I do get to visit with him as well. And just for such a young man, he is very mature for his age, and that's something that's very shocking. As a young child actor coming up, so it's pretty awesome to see how well he handled himself in such a serious film like this. So
Yeah,
and the fighting scenes and everything, it was really spectacular. I
yeah.
did want to ask because the film first made its appearance, I guess, back in September at the film festival, and it's just now making its way to theaters. And I know that that's sometimes the case depending on when it gets picked up. So what was it like for you guys to film it and then it finally hit, and now you're just now getting to finally promote it? Does that time difference, how does that guys affect you guys when it takes that long before you can start marketing a film you've worked on well over a year two now, maybe?
Well, I think it maybe once upon a time, maybe say if it went back 10 years ago, it would probably be a little bit unsettling. But now, COVID just sort of threw everything off, certainly the industry and streaming, and it's so many. So now it's just a part of, you roll with whatever comes next. And I still, not only has it changed a lot, but it feels like we're still in the middle of changes.
Mhm.
You know, I'm so happy it's going to get a theatrical release because so many things don't, you know, and it's hard for me to read. It's a wonderful time because there are a lot of stories now that are being told. Like this is a wonderful little story, and for an industry that's really thirsty for the big blockbuster, it's nice to be able to have this. You know, to be able to it's kind of intimate. You know,
Mhm.
um, and I like to see more films like this, but I'm just rolling with whatever comes next, and I don't understand that part of it. You know, there's a and I think I might not be right about this, but it feels like there's a part of the business part, the corporate part, that wants to keep it a little confusing for a number of reasons, and that doesn't help. So I'm just happy that Catherine and everyone stayed on top of it, and it's getting a chance to have a life and getting a chance for people to see because so many of them don't even, you know, they never see the light of day, and that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really happy that folks are going to get to see it as it comes to theaters this Friday. So I'm pumped for that. Mr. Hudson, I know I'm running out of time here, and I know that, as I said, you've got a huge fan base down here in Branson, including a huge Ghostbusters following. So, if I may,
Thank you.
uh, I'm not going to be able to live it down if I don't at least ask, because I know you can't talk much about it. But can you give us just what you can about what we can look forward to for Ghostbusters Firehouse?
Yeah, you know, it's a well, first off, we finished production, so we were able to get it done, which I was, you know, with the writer's strike and so many things going on. But we managed to get it done, and it was such a joy working with the cast, Paul Rudd and Carrie Coombs and just everybody, Kate McKenna. It's a wonderful moving forward of the story and of course it was great to see Bill and Danny and Annie not just being a part of it but being enthusiastic about being a part of it and I mean this franchise has sort of grown and become very personal. It's been such a huge part of my life, so thankfully it's done. The story moves forward. Basically, this the same. The family, Spangler's family is still a big part of it, and we're there doing what Ghostbusters do. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the fans will be very happy with it. And Winston now having a little extra money. Um, and not only gets a chance to play, but also gets a chance to take responsibility for a lot of the stuff. The other guys have still kind of locked into who they are, but Winston is sort of taken on a different, um, what do I say, just a different place in life, and it's nice to be able to play that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody will agree that when we saw you in the end credit scene of Afterlife walking through the firehouse with the ecto sitting there, uh,
Yeah.
everybody got goosebumps, everybody got chills, and there was probably even a few tears in the audience eyes because
Uh,
at that point we didn't know if there was going to be a sequel, and now that we know that there is, it's been shot and it's on its way. We're very much looking forward to it. So we can't wait to see Winston Zeddemore take on the leadership role and bring the next generation into New York City. So we're pumped. So well, thank you again, sir. Thank you so much for your time. The last thing, I just want to make sure fans can connect with you, keep up with your projects. Where can they follow you best?
I'm really bad with the whole social media. There's Ernie Hudson official, I think, on Instagram and Facebook, and but I'm an old guy now, so but you can, yeah, if you can reach out. I think it's Ernie Hudson official. Yeah. So anyway, that's I know that's yeah. There's yeah. So anyway, that's what you can find.
All right. Well,
All right.
when you remember to post, that's where they can find you. That's what I'll let them know.
Right.
Perfect,
Yes.
sir. Once again, I honestly, I can't believe I'm getting to visit with you. This has been an absolute pleasure, and I appreciate you letting me geek out a little bit at the end here. But you've been one of my favorite actors for forever, and this my entire life. So thank you for not only giving me some of your time today, but also for being just a fantastic actor. Your contribution to the industry has just been overwhelmingly wonderful. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It means so much to me, and I really appreciate you for saying that. So thank you, and good luck with everything that love to Branson and everybody down there, and I look forward to at some point getting back down there. But thank you for you. Just thank you.
You betcha, sir. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for your time.
I will. You too. Take care.
Awesome. Take care, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.